We're outside, Dan, and it is good.
Just enjoying nature.
Enjoying nature, being outside, sunshine. It's a little bit on the crisp side, though.
Yeah. It's a good crisp.
But there's nothing more dad than a deck.
Yeah.
Like, and that size says it all. Because I got to say, I wouldn't like to be a New Zealander, though, saying deck. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I thought you were
picking
going to
up
say...
what I'm putting down?
I thought you were going to say coffee. But yeah, we have a nice big deck here that we're enjoying outside. And I couldn't be happier.
Because spring has sprung, hasn't it?
It has. It's officially sprung.
Let's go weather. Dan, talk me through it. Pollen, Atlanta.
Yeah, this last week, world record setting, never in the history of the city of Atlanta have they ever had this much pollen. And
wow.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been a rough few days.
I'm just getting emotional.
I really didn't even know what pollen was, to be honest, until I was like 35 years old. And I woke up one day and came outside in Atlanta, and I'm like, what is all this yellow stuff on my car? And it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. We've been hit with it hard in Charlotte, and people are going gangbusters about it. And all of a sudden, I feel like the hay fever people, what do you call them? People with hay fever, the hay feverites, they love it. All of a sudden, they just appear out of nowhere. Oh, I'm a sufferer. I suffer. You suffer. I was like, wow, where they hide for 11 months. And then it's like, boom, April. They just come out of nowhere.
It's almost like when someone's a vegetarian, they want you to know they're vegetarian. So they just go on and on and on about, shout out to all my vegetarian friends.
Mushrooms, love a good mushroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, mushrooms are the steak for vegetarians, aren't they?
They are, yeah, when you put a lot of ingredients on them.
They don't shine by themselves. I don't want to mung into a mushroom. Just grab a little button and be like...
Yeah.
Not that way inclined, but love vegetarians. Dan, this episode, welcome to Just Dan's. And I'm Dan.
I'm Dan as well.
And it's a great name. We're great people. But I want to say, though, I just want to pause to thank a few people. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Can I do that? Because this is episode 9, and I am so thankful. Like, this isn't a joke. I am legitimately thankful of the people that have listened. We're now episode 9, and I have received a few encouraging messages. It's so good to receive those messages. And also, there's one hero. I want to call him a hero. He has reshared the most.
Yeah.
Now, he's not a Dan, unfortunately.
But he's friends with Dan's.
He is friends with Dan's. You know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce his surname, his last name.
Skirvin?
Skirvin. Yeah.
Mr.
Garrett.
We appreciate you.
Props to you.
Yeah.
The number one fan of Just Dan's. And, well, our wives are.
For sure. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Garrett, you're up there with our wives.
Yeah.
But you can keep your distance. That's okay. I'm just sharing my bed with Nat.
But I appreciate...
Not that the offer was there, Garrett.
Yeah. We appreciate the shares, the hugs. We appreciate all those as well.
And even just the comments as well. I've really enjoyed some of the comments on that. So you can find us on Instagram, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Any of those, we would love it. If you just comment or if you share, it would mean a lot to us.
Yeah. We do appreciate it, and we would continue to appreciate it if you did do that.
It would mean a lot to the Dan community. Today, we were up way too late last night talking about a few things, and there was one topic which stood out to me, which I think we have to cover in this episode. We're going to bounce around a little bit under the umbrella of fads. Okay, I know we've talked about fads in a few episodes ago about our children having fads, but we have fads. Dan's do. Have fads. Our name isn't a fad, but we have fads. And one of the fads, which we talked about a little bit last night, parkour. I don't want to. I'm not throwing shade
I am.
at at parkour people, at athletes,
Okay. Well, let's not go that far. At, I-
people that jump on furniture to creatively get from A to B. That's really essentially that's the
People who
sport?
are really good at playing tag with nobody chasing them.
That is a very good way of
Yeah.
describing parkour.
Yeah, it's like
Is it French? I feel like there's a French
with
influence.
yeah, with a name like that, I would think so.
Ah, parkour.
Parkour.
Yeah.
Go do some parkour.
And I don't know what they do in France. I don't know who's playing tag. I don't know who was the originator of it. But it happened, would you say 15 years ago? It was massive, massive. And people you'd see kids at parks and, around neighborhoods just
Jumping
jumping.
and rolling.
And they would like be doing sick tricks and like do 180 off a bush and then like slide down a rail. And then it's like, sick, dude. That was sick.
Somersault off the deck.
Yeah. So like if you're a parkour person, awesome.
Send us your highlights.
I
know you have a highlight reel out there. I'll still watch some highlights of parkour. Most of the time when I'm watching it, it's because someone messed up.
Yep.
Foot slipped.
Yep.
Couldn't grab the bar. Falls.
There was this one guy though, I do have to say, in youth ministry growing up, and when parkour happened, he was a guy, an early adopter of a fad, but took it to the extreme. Then all of a sudden our social group, they started to parkour a bit and find trails and whatever.
You guys want to watch a movie? No, we're gonna go to the parkour.
And I was more the observer, I didn't participate as much. But he took it so seriously. He and I am embarrassed to say he's made a career out of it. And he then moved into state. He did a stuntman course, and he's on some big films now. And it's to the point that I'm like, oh, do you know when people like do a fad and then get really good?
Yeah, it played out well for him.
Played out well for the millions of others. They just look like just.
I think too, like when you get to a certain age, maybe you just give it up.
Yeah.
Like if you're in your mid 30s and you still parkour, I love that you want to stay physically active.
Yeah.
You still have some athletic ability to about you.
Yeah.
But are you filming yourself at 37, 35, 32 years old going to a park and jumping off buildings?
So I want to know.
Yeah. Send us your film.
Yeah. I want to parkour with you. I want to train with you.
How do you train?
Another one is though, Dan, I never got into it in a big way. Okay. I know you might have, but that is skating. Skating is still, it's not a fad. I know that. Sorry, Mateo. It is a lifestyle. People are like, you live and breathe it, and all credit to you. I could never even do a kickflip, and I just could get one. I just couldn't do that.
The ollie,
the thing where you kick it up and the
whole board comes
elevates.
off the ground. Yeah, it completely comes off the ground.
Yeah,
the ollie.
Okay, ollie. I never ollied, but I know it was massive in my youth. We had a few really killer skaties. I just couldn't do it.
I got into it for a little bit. I, would go to the skate park, had my Spitfire trucks.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Spitfire shoes, the DC shoes. I'm trying to think of any other brands of skateboarding. Tony Hawk was my idol.
I had some Globe shoes.
Globe? Okay, yeah.
Was Globe a thing here?
Yeah.
Okay. So skatey shoes hit early thousands.
Yeah, I'd say early 2000, 2002, 2001.
I had a DC jumper, I reckon.
Yep.
Yeah.
The shirts, the shoes.
Yeah.
I feel like even if you weren't good at skateboarding, you would still rock it because
skate culture was great. The only thing is I can name one professional skateboarder, Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
and he is still alive. I don't know how. He was like, I think it's now an Olympic sport, and they always cut to him every 4 years. He's famous again.
Yeah.
But what grieves me is I grew up playing his game.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, we've got a generation of kids not even playing Tony Hawk.
They don't even know who he is.
They don't know Tony Hawk. I'm like, what?
He has these bits on his social media.
He's got bits?
Yeah, like on social
Have you
media.
got bits?
I've got bits.
Okay.
Yep. His reels on social media to where when he goes to like airports and people don't recognize him anymore, they're like, "Oh, you look like that one guy." Like they kind of know who he is, but they don't really know who he is. So, yeah. But you ask any teenager in the early 2000s,
Yep.
Everybody knows. Tony
Everybody,
Hawk.
absolutely.
You might not have to watch him skateboard, but you know someone played the video game.
Yep.
You know of him. Like he was on ESPN as a skateboarder. That was bizarre.
And it was massive. Like X Games were huge.
Yeah.
And that. I got into longboarding a little bit, and then after skateboarding, there was longboarding, and so along the coast, you just coast along. That was okay. That's my style of skateboarding.
I don't think I've ever owned one. My brother-in-law owned one. And so I would take that out. It's way more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Way more relaxing.
Yep. It's relaxing.
Just coast.
Yep. Fads though, Dan, they're just two, parkour and skating. Is there something you've ever had? Has there been a fad?
Yeah. It's kind of along the lines of skateboarding. Soap shoes. Have you ever heard of soap shoes?
A brand or?
I think they were called Soaps, and I think the name of the shoe brand actually I think was Soaps as well. There might have been different brands,
Like Tom's.
Yeah,
Okay.
but on the bottom of the shoe it was
no.
plastic.
Okay.
So like in the middle part of it, and you could go and you can like grind on stuff. So like it's a mix between parkour and skateboarding. I did soap shoes. So I can't now that I'm saying this out loud, I can't make fun of parkour as much as I do because I did it with the apparel of shoes, and you just run and you slide and grind on like railings, and yeah. I had a lot of friends.
Sick. I never got into Heelys. Did you ever have a Heely?
No.
Where there's a wheel in the heel.
They look fun, but
crazy and practical just for everyday walking.
and you like have to go
Dunk,
faster
dunk,
and then go
dunk,
like
dunk,
yeah.
dunk. And then it's like dunk,
And really, how far can you go on those wheels? Like you're not going farther than 10 feet, 15 feet. And then the more expensive ones, do they have like better bearings and wheels inside them so you actually can roll farther?
Oh,
Or is it just kind of all just
totally. Yeah.
generic?
I don't know.
No, I never got into it.
But I like that. You were soapy. You had soaps.
Yeah, I was a soapy for a while.
I maybe not a fad, but like late teens, early 20s, I had a moped, a scooter, 49cc scooter, and we had a scooter gang, and there was about 15 of us in our youth, and we all had scooters, and so we would go for cruises, and that was like a huge scooter fad throughout our youth, and so we had some like ripped guys, just. The thing doesn't go over 40 mile an hour, maybe even 30, 35. And it was like when you're going full, wind's hitting you, you're going like 20 mile an hour.
Was it one of those things to where like you guys were all friends, and so anytime you guys would go somewhere, you would all just have them, or was it like an organized like, hey, this Saturday
we had a few group rides,
okay.
Definitely. Yep. And so it was like most of us, it was our main
Did
source
you wear
of
leather?
transport.
Leather jackets?
No, I had a bike jacket because trying to get through a winter and it's like 32 degrees or freezing.
Oh yeah.
And rainy, you need a layer. Yeah. I got caught so many times, and you are just like there was moments where, and so as you're riding, I got when you start shaking when you're just freezing, and I'm riding, and I couldn't keep it straight. I'm just like,
Couldn't control yourself.
just get there. That was a
It's like
huge fad
the Dumb and
growing
Dumber
up.
scene of them going up the
Totally.
mountain. Yeah.
But I think as well, I wanted to ask a little bit more serious on this one. Fads. How do business? I've thought about it. This is my brain. I don't know why I think. Why do you think dumb stuff? But anyway, I was thinking about like I have empathy for businesses, and like I feel for. There's a couple that come to mind. Like Crumble Cookie was massive like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Crumble, I've used Crumble. Oh, new flavor, Crumble. Then I feel like now we're so calorie conscious. I walked in there the other day and I was like, bro, that cookie has 800 calories.
Just the
Like,
one cookie.
so then my kids were like, I'm like, no, we're getting one, and like in quarters is enough. Like
Yeah.
200 calories each. And now I'm like, why? I just start Googling, like, is Crumble, how's the business model going? And no joke, it like lost a lot of money last year. Like it like climbed so steep, and then it's just like, oh, the fad's finished. And now there's been a decline. And I'm like, oh, so there's that, or the other one on the other end is like F45. Everyone was like, boom, F45, this fitness regime. The franchises were going gangbusters. Mark Wahlberg was just lining his pockets, and he was just like, yeah, everyone get a franchise. And then all of a sudden, people are like, nah, I'm onto the new thing. And all these gyms closed. How do businesses like create a sustainable, is it a business or your ministry or even like a lifestyle or a diet? How do you then create it so it's sustainable? I'm asking you as the expert.
Yeah.
Because Dan's are.
As never having a business that has failed, I can speak on this.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
You either just don't go into business and you won't fail, or you learn as much as you possibly can, play all your chips, and hopefully it works out. That's my
That is a great
talk.
So that great advice right there. All in or not in?
It's one or the other.
That is profound.
Yeah. So then the fad, there's not going to be a fad because you're either in or you're out.
Okay. All right. Here's something for you.
I felt so intelligent saying that.
I want to Google that. I want to back that up, and I want to actually then put that against my 2 case studies, because I have a feeling that whoever Crumble was that started it, I have a feeling they're not in. They're not in.
Nope.
They're not. They didn't put all the chips in.
No.
And I just
they could have put a lot of chips in.
I think they cashed out. They were like, boom, it's great. They sold out.
Yeah.
And I'm making this up. And do not Google this. All right. Because it sounds like it's legit, but it's not. I think as well, F45. I think Mark Wahlberg, he was like, boom, can you cut me a check? I'm out. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh.
Told you.
Yeah. So great advice.
Yeah.
All in or not in. Yeah, great. Dan, one thing though is there's one fad, I guess, for you and I that is of the highest importance, and that is faith, and so our faith. And so this idea of how do you have a faith that's not a fad, and how do you have a lifelong, a fad is something you're into, isn't it? And so how do you have then a fad or something you're into, but it's sustainable because it's part of who you are? Because I've done a fad diet before. Great, we're having lemon juice. Awesome. Why? I don't know. Okay, great. Let's stop drinking lemon juice. Okay, good. Like that. But faith is something that's like, no, I believe it. I'm convicted by it. It clearly is the best way.
Yeah.
How do you put it into your daily practice so it's sustainable?
I think I'm always talking about emotions. And so I think setting the emotions aside, because there's days, just like in everything, you don't feel like doing it. Like there's days I don't feel like working. There's days I don't feel like mowing the lawn. There's days I don't feel like reading my Bible. And so I know when I have those feelings coming, I know it's not a fad because it's something I don't want to always do. But I think the consistency of it, and then, as a Christian, knowing who Jesus is, what he did for me, and just waking up every day, just reminding myself of that. That's to me, it's not a fad. It's truth for me. It's just who I am. Like, it's just part of who I am.
Wow. And I think if you do it for long enough, I look at it as though it's like putting clothes on. You start to then have your style of clothes that you put on. And then, but I think it's then when we put on that faith, when we put on that, it then just becomes part of all of your wardrobe. So you can't then take that off because it's like my whole wardrobe is that style now. That is all I wear. That's all I am. So yes, I'm all in, but at the same time, there's that inside feeling of like, no, it's a decision from my innermost being, and I'm convinced more than ever. So when life gets shaky or rocky, no, it's so deep rooted.
Yeah,
it doesn't just sway with wind.
Yeah,
because I feel like I fear people that they're new to faith, they're all in, but then the wind blows and it just topples over, and it's like,
yeah.
All right, to wrap up today, Dan, I've said before, and I'll say it again. Dans aren't fads.
No.
No. If you Google us, our name has survived generations.
Years, thousands.
And I don't know why, but there's something to the name Dan. And I just think, therefore, we're not going to go out of fashion.
No, we haven't ever.
No.
And I don't see it coming anytime soon.
In looking at the horizon, no.
I don't see it. Anyways, I'm Dan.
I'm Dan. Thanks for listening. As I said before, can you share, like? That would mean the world to us.